Hi, everyone. My name is Katka Reszke, and I'm the director of the ReelAbililties Film Festival, which is presented by Boston Jewish Film. And closing night is officially upon us. Tonight's screening of The Witch Hunters is generously sponsored by Shulamit and Yehuda Reinhardt's in memory of Ilse Rothschild, who improved the lives of children with cerebral palsy. I also want to thank our community partners for tonight, the Boston International Film Festival, Partners for Youth with Disabilities, United Cerebral Palsy of Metro Boston, and the Belmont World Film. Thanks for their support in promoting this amazing film. We are so lucky to have with us tonight the director of The Witch Hunters. Joining us here all the way from Belgrade is Raško Miljkovic.
Great to be here. Well, I'm great. A bit crazy. This is my first Skype so late. It's 2:42 a.m. in Serbia, but still, I figured closing night. Why not look the part?
So appreciate it.
Quite excited to be here.
Thank you so much. I want to start by asking you how you came upon this amazing script and got to direct this beautiful film, which we love so much, which is why I wanted to program it for the closing night of our festival.
Well, thank you so much for the kind words. It was just pure luck, I guess. I finished university. I was doing TV commercials, music videos, stuff like that. Out of the blue, one day, my phone rings, and a woman called Jovana Karalic calls me, and she says, "I'm looking for a young director. I have a great script, and I've heard great things about you. So I'd love to send you a script just for you to read it and let me know what you think about it." So she sends me the script, and I immediately call my dad, who works at a local TV station. And I asked him, "Dad, do you know who this Jovana person is?" And he tells me, "Oh, yeah, she's a great producer. She started out at my TV station, so I know her from there." And definitely give it a read. So, of course, I read it, and I love the script. And then I see it's actually written by a friend of mine from university. So I was thrilled with the prospect of doing a film with people that I know. So from there on, Jovana kind of brought me on board, and then Marko, Miloš, the co-writer, and myself had a generous 5-month period to kind of, rework some of the things, reintroduce Shade as a superhero in it. And the rest is, as they say, history. So complete dumb luck.
Wow. I know that it was quite a process for you to cast Mihailo in the role that you cast him in. And I know that it was very important for you to choose the right person for the role, and there was some thought involved in the process of casting. So if you could tell us a little bit about that.
Of course. Well, so the thing is, in the first conversation we had, I told my producer, I said, the kids are going to carry this film. They're going to be the heart and soul of this film. So they're our number one priority. My producer was concerned that, she wanted me to cast a kid actor to play someone who had cerebral palsy. And because previously I did not have a lot of experience, with cerebral palsy, I just thought it would be a good idea to talk to some experts and, get to know some people just to kind of get insight into the condition. And I was talking to a wonderful doctor here in Serbia who told me, we have a day recreational hospital, and I think it would be a tremendous experience for you if you can come into these afternoon sessions and just, meet some kids, talk to them. And so I spent 2 weeks there and met some amazing young boys and girls who just blew me away, who knew a lot more things than I know, and who were just like intelligent and emotionally very intelligent. So I had sort of a fight with my producer, and I said, listen, I think we should try and cast a boy with CP. This is, a story. It's going to make a much greater impact. It's going to help someone, personally. It took her 3 days to call me back, and she said, okay, listen, I'll give you 2 months to find your actor, and then we go my way or the highway. I said, sure. And we started this grueling process of trying to find, it has a lot of bureaucracy in it. You got to call up a school and then say, hi, I'm so-and-so. Do you have kids in inclusion with CP? And then they say, we can tell you yes, but we have to check with the parents if, they're interested. So it took some time. And then I said, okay, Giovanna, I have 4 kids that I'm going to meet. You got to come with me. And we went together. And I remember in the car ride coming back home, she said, okay, you got me. I'll give you more time. I know we can find him. And so we spent, the casting process lasted 9 months in total. Again, it was sheer dumb luck. I was helping my mom with the gardening, and I haven't been in quite a while. And a neighbor comes by and he's like, hey, I haven't seen you in ages. What are you doing? I tell him I'm preparing a film. We're in casting. I'm looking for a kid. And he tells me, my friend from high school has a great kid with CP. I think you should call him and meet the kid. And lo and behold, that's Mihailo's dad. So I met him. I loved him. He just didn't care about me at the time because his dad didn't want to get his hopes up. So he said, Mihailo, come meet dad's friend. And Mihailo's like, hi, and just walks away. But I just loved, I watched him as he talked to some of his friends, and I just loved the way, he all of his gestures and just his energy. And I said, I'd love for him to come audition. And, he skyrocketed into the top 5. And when we had those one-on-ones with both girls and boys, Selma, who plays Milica in the film, and himself, they just clicked. It felt like they knew each other for ages. And the thing that really sealed the deal is, they were 10 and a half and 11 at the time. So boys and girls tend to not get along in that age group. But, we take a picture of all of the pairs. For some reason, all of the boys and girls would be like 5 feet apart from each other in the photo. And when I said, Mika, come on, let's get a picture of you two, they were just like buddies, just instantaneously like this, and they couldn't stop laughing. So we just had tons of pictures of them, crying their eyes out laughing.
And that chemistry that they have really, really transpires in the film. And I got to tell you, I'm so happy that you had that fight with your producer because, well, for one, your film, if you did cast a kid that didn't have CP in your film, would not make it to our festival.
Yeah,
so that I have to tell you. So I am so pleased that you cast Mihailo in your film. He's absolutely brilliant. And I want to ask you what his reception was of the film. And he was 11 and a little bit. He turned 11, right, while you were filming, and then he's what? He's now 15.
He's gonna be 15 this summer. Yeah.
So he's obviously it's been a few years, and he has seen him. He did join you for some of the screenings. I know that his health has. You can tell us a little bit about that. I know that he's had some health issues, but you were able to bring him to TIFF Kids to Toronto for the screening, and that's amazing. What's his experience on this film adventure, and what's his reception of the film, most importantly?
So the thing he really enjoyed was he was the star of this film, and he knew it, and he took advantage of that. I mean, he's a sweet kid, but he just reveled in the attention he got. It was just amazing. He would every day he comes on set and he just lights up. He just starts shining, and it was a real joy just to have him there. But then, so we actually we talked about the story and went through the script, but we never went through all of the details while we were preparing it. We didn't go through each and every line. We just read through like it's a story. So every time we just talked about emotions. That's the only, and he's a super emotionally intelligent kid, which shows later on in his performance. And he kind of just played along for the 30 days that we shot the film. And I remember when we wrapped, we all cried. Every single person on set cried when we wrapped. We were just like this big family, big dysfunctional film family. And he told me, I like this film thing. I'm not sure I want to be an actor, but I think a producer or a boom operator, that's something that I think I would like to do. And I was like, all right, good. And the first time he saw the film, it was just the two of us. It was just me and him. It was this closed private screening. Both of us cried a lot. And, he told me, I'm not sure I did a good job. I tried consoling him, but it just did not work. Next time around, we had a private screening for his family members and all the friends he wanted to invite. And after that screening, boom, he just lit up again because everyone was so thrilled by his performance. And later on, having the world premiere at TIFF, we had this amazing experience where the entire auditorium waited for us when the Q&A finished, and they just waited in front to hug us and just kind of like have a couple of words. And we were really both so thrilled about that. If you make a film that makes someone want to hug a complete stranger, I think that's a pretty good job doing the film. So yeah, it's weird for both of us. We just spoke a couple of hours ago. He wished me luck on the Q&A and said hi to all you guys. But he told me it's so weird. He seems like a baby in that film, and now he looks at himself in the mirror and he's like, dude, I'm a grown man. So yeah, I think it's a treasured experience.
How is he doing? How's his family? How's everybody doing in this under these circumstances?
Circumstances are crazy. I mean, he had the growth spurts last year, and it really affected the ligaments in his legs. So we could, along with some donations from the state and along with some proceeds from the film, we could get him enrolled into a treatment in Zagreb. So he spent a couple months there, really helped him. He could again walk on his own. And it just, when this craziness started, thankfully his folks have a home that's on a lake a couple of 100 kilometers away from Belgrade. So they moved there, and right now every kid in Serbia is going to school online, which he hates, but he does have his PlayStation there with him. So he's doing fine. He told me, this is like, I can't wait for one more week. Then they're going to cut school. It's going to be over, and this is just going to be the most amazing summer vacation ever. So he just does not grasp the situation we're in, and I'm glad.
Okay. Well, I want to ask you about the American critics' reception of the film, where I've read some reviews where the American critics couldn't get over the fact that this is a children's film where children plot a murder, and they got so hung up on this idea. And I think that this was the sort of cultural clash between Americans and Europeans, where I, being the European that I am, you being the European that you are, scriptwriters being the Europeans that they are, didn't really see this as such a big thing. I think that there was probably it was seen as a bigger issue by American critics. How did you? Was that something that surprised you coming from American critics when the film hit American viewers?
Definitely, definitely. That was, I mean, so I have a lot of younger siblings, and the age difference is huge. My brother is 7 years younger than me. Than my sister. Oh, sorry, my sister is 7 years younger than me. My brother is 16 years younger than me, and my newest brother, is 26 years younger than me. And all of them played, like, I don't know if that's like a European thing, but my kid brother's favorite game was Let's Kill Masha, and that's my sister. And I was like, why? I don't know. We just have to kill her. How? We'll use a potato. And that was like a kid's. So we kind of took the whole thing just lightheartedly and never thought, at least for us, we thought, well, no one's going to take these two kids seriously. They're not going to actually do anything about it, which they don't in the end. But still, I think there's so much more very serious themes underlaying the story that I think are more important that I have to say, frankly, we didn't really think it was going to be such big of a deal.
Right. That's what I thought. I do want to tell you that one of the things that I really liked, which was, the second and really probably the biggest reason I wanted to program your film, and why as I told you before, I'm such a big fan of your film, is that not obviously this, you do cast a child who portrays the disability, but it's also not a film about cerebral palsy, which is something that often happens when you do cast somebody portraying the disability that they have. It becomes a film about that disability. And it doesn't strike me as a film about cerebral palsy. I mean, it's no more a film about cerebral palsy than it is about being a child of divorce.
Divorce, yeah.
So that's what I really appreciated about, and it's very much also in the directing, as well as in the script, that it doesn't overwhelm the film. This idea of where either one of the kids' anxiety comes from. They both have their own anxieties, and they help each other overcome them. Whether their anxieties come from a disability or not is not the theme of the film. And I think that's where the brilliance really lies, and that's what I really enjoyed about it.
Thank you.
I'm wondering if you can speak to how you wanted to navigate not making this film, and then how you wanted to be sensitive about not creating this while remaining educational. I know you created an educational package. I know you had this idea with your producer for this film while remaining a sort of a mainstream kids film, to be an educational film, right? To affect perceptions and misconceptions about disabilities.
I think that's wonderful when you make this sort of film. Is the kids don't feel like you're spoon feeding them broccoli. You know what I mean? They
Exactly.
learn something while having fun. So another thing is, CP kids with CP generally, just kids with disabilities are kind of pretty invisible here. It's still kind of a taboo. I mean, I'm talking about Eastern Europe, and no media outlets just covers any type of content like this. If it does, they tend to make a victim out of the protagonist, and this is something I just did not want to do. I wanted to make a hero, and he's a good friend, and he's just a kid, and he makes mistakes. All of us make mistakes, but he's a good, mild-mannered kid, and this is something that we really wanted to put in the forefront. Is he has an imagination, an amazing imagination, and he wants to help his friend. So this is like, I think first and foremost, we wanted to bring these themes just into the discussion between parents and kids, and you know, school curriculums, which is great. We could do that with you know, the our government, and we had special screenings, free screenings for schools, where we discuss with them, you know, themes like bullying and being different, just in general. It doesn't mean you know, even if you're kids from divorced parents, or if you're, you know, overweight, or whatever, just being different, how to handle that, and you know, what does being normal mean even. So I think that's our main goal was, let's make a fun but secretly sneaky educational film, and B was, let's make a film that not only kids can enjoy, but let's try and make a film that's going to resonate with the parents, which I think is also extremely important, because it's going to, the chance of you wanting to discuss a film with your kid is much higher if you liked it as well. If you slept through half of it, you don't want to talk about it when you exit the cinema. So that was kind of our two goals.
Yeah.
Going to it.
We have a question from a viewer, and it reads as follows: the production quality was amazing. Also, the sets for this film were interesting and beautiful, from the opening scene, the boys' room, the grandmother's storage area. How did you pull it off?
First and foremost, thank you. I had an amazing crew. Most of us were first timers. This was our first feature film. Scriptwriter, myself, obviously the kids, my producer, director of photography, costume designer, we're all newbies. But my set designer and all of his crew were super experienced. Amazing filmmakers from Serbia. And the most wondrous quality about Aljosha, who was our main art department head, is he is still a child inside. And when we were thinking about that, you know, the small model of the shade city in the beginning, his eyes just lit up, and he said, "Oh," and he was just like this kid on, you know, New Year's morning, whatever. He just rushed into his basement and started sending me photos and making these small cardboard things. The room itself was made inside of a studio, and that's the only thing we actually shot inside of a studio, not counting the green screen. So it was wonderful because we could construct it for our needs, and we just thought about, you know, okay, let's put everything that we used to love as, you know, growing up and being kids. I loved that I had like small toy cars and airplanes. My mom put them up on my wall instead of pictures. And so we everyone pitched in with their childhood ideas, and we kind of morphed it into Jovan's room.
Unbelievable. How much did the kids want to influence the script? Did they have their own ideas? Did they chip in with their dialogue changes, or, you know, kids?
So here's the thing. They were actually super professional about it. Selma, who plays Milica, she was, you know, every morning on time. I know all my lines. She was just like this little soldier. And then Miha, who's a bit more laid back, he was kind of intimidated by, you know, oh my God, she's so good. I can't be, you know, second to this. So they kind of started competing a bit between each other in terms of who's going to be more prepared. So they didn't really switch almost any lines. I think maybe 3% of it is just ad-libbed. Most of it is just...
Milica, I mean, Selma was, I mean, she's a beautiful young actress. I wonder, you know, where she's going to go with her career. I mean, I found her extremely talented.
So she actually did continue pursuing an acting career. She did, after The Witch Hunters, she did 2 short films,
Mm.
and she did 15 episodes, like a pilot season of a TV show that should be out in Serbia this fall. Well, I mean, no one knows what the schedule is going to look like because, but
Incredible.
if that goes well, I mean, she still considers acting to be her hobby, even though I told her, like, you were born to do this. I mean,
That's a
like,
healthy
wow.
attitude, especially for a child. That's, for a
But
young
she said,
person.
yeah, she said, look, I mean, I appreciate it. I'm having fun. I still think I'd be more useful if I was a doctor. I said, okay, you got me
Very,
there.
very healthy attitude. Yes,
Yeah.
indeed. There's another question from our viewer. Public transportation is such a blessing, but also a challenge for those of us with mobility issues. Jovan's challenges and triumphs are beautifully explored here. Can you speak to that?
Of course. And it's, again, a huge issue here, because maybe still about 15% of buses do not have any kind of ramps or, any kind of assistance for you to get on, which I still find just perplexing. It's 2020. I mean, we've been sending people into space for 70 years, and there's no way to have this on public transport. I mean, it's just crazy, and I just can't get over it. But we also acted with some of my producer's crew, with the local government, who then said that they would be reconciling this thing and just getting in new buses. And I think we're down to a smaller number of buses, but still are plagued by this. So hopefully in the near future, this is going to be a problem of the past. But no one ever talked about this before, the film came out, and it kind of became an issue again in the public forum. So hopefully it's going to change. But I know it's Miha as well. I mean, it's just his position that he has a dad who has a flexible schedule at work, so he can drive him to and from school. But if his dad's not there, his mom doesn't drive, it becomes a huge hassle, which is crazy. I mean, in this day and age.
Yeah. What is the situation of the film right now? The film did the festival circuits. It won plenty of awards all over the world right now.
Yeah.
Right? I mean, you can tell us a little bit about that. You have your bragging few minutes before you fall asleep on us, and before we close up shop on this festival.
All right.
This is your chance, but also tell us what's next for the film, and where people can still see it, and what are your hopes for it in the near future.
So we've actually the film has been on tour since March 2018. And this is legally, 2020 is the last year that it can have a festival like.
Mm-hmm.
It's been to 62 or 63 festivals so far, and I know we have 28 awards, which is crazy because we never even dreamed, of this film. This is a small, low budget Serbian film, going on every continent in the world. Hopefully, we're still looking. We have some distributors across the world. I'd love it in the circumstances right now. I'd love it to come up on a streaming platform or something where it could be viewed online. Because I feel that a lot of, talking about kids these days, it's definitely gonna get to a much wider audience online than it is gonna be in cinema. So hopefully that is something that happens in the near future. Legally, sadly, there is no way to view the film outside of festivals. But again, hoping
Yeah.
that's going to change yet. Exactly.
Final question from our viewers, Raško, before
Yes.
we close up. If you had one message to teach kids to be better to each other, what would it be? That's not a small question.
That's the toughest question anyone has ever asked me. I think compassion. Just compassion would be probably the number one thing I'd love to teach my kid at least. And then I think it's kind of a chain reaction. Just try and be compassionate towards one another, and I think that might be. I sound like a Miss World saying this. I'm aware of it, but I really do think.
Well, it might have something to do with where you are in your life right now.
Right. Yeah. My wife's 9 months pregnant, so gonna be a dad very soon. So definitely, that's one wish I would have for my kid is just be compassionate. Just think about, don't judge people before you really think about where they can be coming from.
And on that note, I want to thank you so very much for being with us tonight and for making this incredible film. I mean, these are the kinds of films that, I wish were being made in the States in the mainstream, because this is exactly what you did. You cast a kid with CP in a film that isn't about CP. And that is just brilliant. And I really want to thank you for making this film, because I really hope that people have something to learn from it, and it's absolutely, absolutely incredible. And I'm so happy that it closes ReelAbililties Boston 2020. And I want to give a big thank you to the Boston Jewish Film team and to all those who helped put this festival together. And thank you to our sponsors and partners and supporters. And if you liked what you saw in this festival, please do consider making a donation so that we can keep this festival alive and so that we can continue to bring you year-round programming. This festival may be over, but we're not going anywhere. So please follow us and stay tuned for what's next from ReelAbililties and from Boston Jewish Film. And thank you again, Raško, and thank you to everyone. And stay safe and have a very good night. It's a wrap.